Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Edward Kondrot, and I want to thank you so much for joining me on this webinar to go over the 10 essentials to save your sight. This is a photograph of our Florida Wellness Center located north of Tampa in Dade City, and this is the center that we use to treat people who are losing their vision and who are having difficulty with their eyesight. So if you're in the Florida area, you're always welcome to stop by and say hello. My wife and I finished the Camino de Santiago Compostella. This is a 500-mile pilgrimage through northern Spain, and we did this to raise awareness for folks with macular degeneration and other eye problems, and I want to thank all of you who have supported us along the way and have contributed to our cause. We met wonderful people along the way, and I felt that I accomplished my goal, number one, of finishing the Camino de Santiago, and the second is to raise awareness, to make other eye doctors and patients aware that there are alternative treatments that can help improve your vision. There's an interesting connection with the Camino de Santiago. Martin Sheen starred in a movie called The Way, and if any of you are interested in learning more about the Camino de Santiago, this is an excellent movie. Martin Sheen plays the role of an ophthalmologist. So I think that's an interesting connection. An ophthalmologist who loses his son, and he decides to do the Camino in his honor. My wife and I did keep a blog of our trip, and you can go to our website, healingtheeye.com/Camino, and that's in small letters, no capital in Camino, and you can share our adventure. It was really, really a lot of fun. Now, Martin Sheen became interested in our wellness center, and he did a national TV production. He has a production called In Focus. I was really honored that I was featured on national TV for the work that I'm doing in helping folks to restore lost vision. Also, I'm very pleased to announce that the journal Alternative Therapies, they have accepted my research to publish in an upcoming issue. And I submitted data on the last 2 years of treating people with serious eye problems. This is a peer-reviewed journal. It was reviewed by my peers, and they studied the treatments that I used and the data. And so I'm really pleased that this was accepted, and I'm hoping that this article will increase interest in many of the alternative therapies that we're doing here at the Wellness Center, and help stimulate an interest not only with other eye doctors, but you as a patient who may be faced with losing vision and who are frustrated with traditional care. So if you've been told nothing can be done to improve your vision, or just live with your poor vision, and also you need to give up your driver's license. And it's interesting, you know, when we're younger, we can't wait to get our driver's license. This indicates freedom and kind of like a celebration. And then as we get older and our vision begins to fail, one of the biggest concerns that I see in seniors, well, I have to give up my driver's license. So we see many people who are on the verge of losing their driver's license, and many of the therapies that we do can improve your vision. A couple of lines so you can pass your vision test. And of course, as we get older, this is a time to relax and enjoy life, especially those of you that have grandchildren. My wife and I, we have 5 sons between us, and we're waiting for our first grandchild. So if any of you listening out there have eligible granddaughters or daughters between the age of 20 and 35, let me know. Maybe we could have an arranged marriage. We have big problems with our healthcare. Big pharma is gaining more and more control, and unfortunately, many people lean towards big pharma and are dependent on pharmaceutical products that really don't treat the underlying cause of disease At best, they may reduce some of the symptoms, and in many cases, they actually make the condition worse because you become not only dependent on that particular drug, but you need other drugs because of side effects. And of course, there's problems with the insurance industry. They're dictating on what procedures can be done. Physicians are losing their freedom. And then we have the whole political system. So right now, I think our healthcare is in big trouble. But I want to share with you that there are things, I think, because there's problems with our healthcare system, you as a consumer need to do your research, you need to do your education, and you need to find out what is the best solution, the best approach to help you restore your health and restore your lost vision. I am not a big advocate of injections. Many patients I see are receiving these injections. Sometimes they do improve the vision. I think the studies are rather shaky. And I think long-term, there has to be a much better way. And of course, I'm going to be sharing with you what are these solutions, what things you should do to help improve your vision. So there is a battle out there, the battle between homeopathy and allopathy, good and evil. Homeopathy has a completely different approach to health and disease compared to the allopathic, and I'll talk about that later on in this webinar. So my conversion, I started out as a board-certified ophthalmologist. I practiced traditional surgery for over 20 years. I was a very, very successful surgeon. A few publications. I was featured on the cover of Ophthalmology Times for my surgical skill. But then when I developed asthma, I looked at traditional medicine to help me, and traditional medicine did not help me. And when homeopathy cured me of my asthma, I began to embrace alternative therapies, first just incorporating them in my traditional practice. And then finally, I decided that my results were so good and I was having so much fun and reward in dealing with people who were having vision problems using alternative therapies that I decided to give up my surgical practice. I'm the only eye doctor to be certified in ophthalmology and homeopathy. I'm the author of 3 best-selling books. I'm the host of Healthy Vision Talk Radio, and I hope that you'll join me every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for my radio show. I have a medical license in 4 states. I'm the past president of the Arizona Homeopathic Integrated Medical Association, and I'm also clinical director of the American Medical College of Homeopathy. The exciting news is that my program can help improve your vision. Over 85% of patients who complete the Kondrot program will have an improvement of vision. And as I mentioned, the success of the program was featured on the national TV show Martin Sheen's In Focus. This program is not for everyone. It's only for those who are serious in investing, saving their sight. Many of you have chronic vision problems, and most of them did not occur overnight. They're due to years of poor diet, poor health habits. So one of the first steps we have to do is to begin to reverse some of these habits to help your body heal. I firmly believe that the human body has the ability to regenerate and the ability to heal. We just have to guide it in the right direction. So let's start. Number 1, I think probably the most important thing you can do is to change your diet. We call it our 70-30 diet. 70% of your diet should be organic, raw, living food. Well, let's talk a little bit about why organic. A spinach study was done, and also a study in Chicago. This is shocking. In the 1940s, the government did a study looking at the nutritional value of food. And just as an example, the average serving spinach had 158 milligrams of iron. Recently, this study was done, and the average serving of spinach only has 2.2 milligrams of iron. My goodness, that our food nowadays that we're eating, especially if it's not organic, has a pathetic nutritional value. We need food that has a good nutritional value. So One of the reasons is you have to shift your diet more towards organic. There was a study done in Chicago that showed that organic food has a 5 to 10-fold more nutritional value, 5 to 10-fold more nutritional value, and a 5 to 10-fold less in toxic metals. So there's two reasons. One, organic is going to have more nutritional value, and it's going to have less toxic material. And I'll talk later about the importance of evaluating your body for heavy metals, toxins, and I'll give you some steps on how you can eliminate these heavy metals and toxins which are contributing to eye problems. The dangers of genetically modified food. It's a big problem. A book that I would encourage you to read is called Seeds of Deception by Jeffrey Smith. There was an article published in Lancet doing an in-depth study of genetically modified food that conclusively showed that genetically modified food does contribute to a lot of health problems. And this is one of the reasons why most of the European communities have banned genetically modified food. Even in Mexico, our neighbors to the south, they have banned genetically modified corn. But here in the United States, we are embracing GMO food. And I think it's very, very unfortunate. 90% of our food, 90% of our corn is genetically modified. 80% of soy products, rapeseed oil, canola, etc., are genetically modified organisms. There's no doubt in my mind that you have to avoid GMO foods if you want to regain your health. And that's another reason why you need to eat organic. If you're eating organic food, you're eliminating the chance of consuming a genetically modified organism. High fructose corn syrup. When I traveled through Europe, you could not find high fructose corn syrup. The reason is high fructose corn syrup is made from genetically modified corn. Also, high fructose corn syrup is not really a true food source. It is metabolized a little bit differently than sugar, glucose, and it's shunted more towards fat storage. So that's a reason why there's an increased incidence of diabetes and obesity in our country because of high fructose corn syrup. In addition, high fructose corn syrup does have trace amounts of mercury, which is a very toxic heavy metal. So you need to look at these labels. And if it does indicate high fructose corn syrup like this label, avoid it. And my friend Dr. Rowan made a comment to me, which makes a lot of sense. He said, if it has a label, don't eat it. Chances are if it has a label, it's going to have ingredients that are not very healthy to your body. Another thing that may come to a surprise to you is that fish oils are contributing to your blindness. Now, wait a minute, Dr. Kondrot. My eye doctor said I need fish oils to keep my eye healthy. Well, your eye doctor's right. You need omega oils, but fish oil is the wrong choice. Reason for that is threefold. One, fish oil is a longer chain fatty acid than plant-based omega oils. The cells in our body can't absorb these longer chain fatty acids. They are the plant-based omega oils are much more readily absorbed by our cells. Second, all fish oils become rancid at room temperatures. Most people that are taking fish oils don't refrigerate them. Even if you do refrigerate your fish oil, chances are they've sat on a shelf in some grocery store or health food store for a long time. Rancid oils are extremely toxic. Also, I think there's a big problem with mercury in all fish oils. I know the manufacturers say that they're mercury-free, but the bottom line is it's extremely difficult to remove mercury from the human body. I don't know how they remove all the mercury from fish, so I think there is a problem with mercury in fish oils. Another shocking thing that I have found is a high percentage of patients, in fact, 80% of patients are deficient in zinc, even if they're taking zinc as a supplement. So why is this important? Well, zinc is an essential mineral for just about every enzymatic reaction in the body. In fact, there have been several studies done to show that zinc deficiency is linked to macular degeneration. And the reason why we're deficient in zinc is because of our modern farming practices. The soil is becoming deficient in zinc. Also, as we get older, our digestion and absorption changes. We need more stomach acid, we need digestive enzymes and probiotics. So that's one of the reasons in the vitamin formula that I recommend, it does have some supplemental hydrochloric acid, probiotics, and digestive enzymes to help the zinc get into your body. There is a simple zinc test. In fact, it only takes 10 seconds to see if you're deficient in zinc. So I would encourage you to inquire with your alternative doctor about this simple test. Remember, even if you're taking zinc as a supplement, there's a good chance that you are deficient in zinc, and this could be one of the leading problems one of the leading contributing factors to your eye problem. Let's talk a little bit now about the second important essential is proper hydration. Most of us are walking around in a dehydrated state. Dr. Batman Jaldi, in his book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, feels that most chronic disease is due to dehydration. You don't need drugs. You don't need to take pharmaceutical agents to get your body healthy. All you need to do is to drink more water. Well, why is water essential? Well, water is necessary for detoxification of our body. Also, all cellular function is dependent on water and proper hydration. So if you are dehydrated, chances are toxins are going to be accumulating in your body. One of the earliest changes in macular degeneration is something called drusen. It's like a little wart that grows inside your eye, and it's accumulation of waste elements. So I tell patients your retina, your eye is constipated. And if you are constipated, one of the first things you need to do is to drink more water. So the rule of thumb is you should drink half of your body weight in ounces of water. Now, the big problem is, where are we going to find a good source of water? We know the dangers of public water, chlorine and fluoride in the water, which are toxic and are causing problems. Now we discover that even pharmaceuticals are found in water. I'm talking about high blood pressure medicine, hormones, antibiotics, etc. And we know now the dangers of plastic bottles. At one time, we felt that drinking water of a plastic bottle was healthy, but now there have been studies to show that the phthalates and benzene derivatives of the plastic are being leached into water, which are causing a lot of problems. I feel one of the best ways to handle this is something called reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a method of eliminating all the byproducts in water, all the heavy metals, pharmaceutical agents, and essentially producing distilled water. Now, these are fairly inexpensive. For a couple $100, you can get a reverse osmosis unit under your kitchen sink. So this is what I recommend. Patients always inquire, well, Dr. Kondrot, isn't this going to be removing all of the essential minerals? And you're right, it is. So one of the ways to supplement this is by making sure you have a good, healthy, organic diet, and also maybe a pinch of Himalayan sea salt in the water will help you replace some of these lost essential minerals. Himalayan sea salt has been mined from an ancient inland sea, so it doesn't have the contaminants like most of our ocean does. Point number 3, essential number 3, is balancing the autonomic nervous system. The more I practice alternative medicine, the more I feel that it is essential to reduce stress. Our body has something called the fight or flight system. When we are under stress, we're fleeing, we're fighting. It's like when the grizzly bear is chasing us in the woods, we're running for our life. Our pupils dilate, our heart rate increases, our breathing increases, so certain physiological things take place. When we're in that state, the body will not heal. That is true. The body will not heal. Our digestive processes slow down. So one of the first things we have to do is to reduce stress. When we reduce stress, then our body will be able to heal. So what are the ways to reduce stress? Well, physical exercise is good. Meditation, prayer, positive affirmations, all these things are things that you can do. You have to recognize the stress in your body and then begin to fight and reduce this stress. Getting yourself into a parasympathetic or relaxed state will help your digestion and help your body to heal. Microcurrent. We also can do some wonderful therapies with microcurrent, and light therapy are wonderful ways to help the body reduce stress, and we do that during all of our programs at the Wellness Center, and in particular during the Kondrot Restore Vision program. This is a very valuable treatment that we do to reduce the stress. Whole body exercise is great. I like the trampoline or rebounder because as we get older, this is a way that produces less stress to our joints. Dancing is wonderful. So gentlemen, take your ladies out there and dance. In fact, both of these things, dance and the trampoline, can be extremely beneficial for those of you that have glaucoma. Many times I've seen patients with uncontrolled glaucoma. After exercise and dancing, their pressure will be reduced. Sleep is also important. I want to talk about sleep and light therapy. There's a condition called light at night that I want to talk about, and also ultraviolet light. Is it our friend or foe? There's an interesting researcher, Professor Abraham Hayam from Haifa University in Israel, who studied this phenomena, light at night. He found that certain areas of the globe that have and let me just back up here. Here's a map of the United States at night, and you see there's certain hot areas at night, bright areas at night where you have a lot of unwanted light. His theory is that there's certain diseases that are related to the circadian rhythm that will have a greater incidence in areas with light at night. So what he did was he felt by looking at these areas, he discovered there was a greater incidence of cancer, diabetes, and a greater increased incidence of eye problems. Now you might be thinking, of course there's going to be a greater incidence in those areas. Most of those areas are major cities. And there's more stress in cities, there's more pollution. But as a control, he looked at lung disease, lung cancer. So there was no difference in the incidence of lung cancer. Now, what he did, he looked at this in an animal model. So he injected mice with breast cancer cells. And one group of mice he kept in a normal circadian rhythm, which had light and dark cycles. The other group had light at night. And lo and behold, there was an increased incidence, close to 500% greater incidence in the mice that had light at night. He also did the same thing with prostate cancer. He looked at diabetes, heart disease, and eye disease. They all had a greater incidence with unwanted light at night. Now, his experiments, I thought, were amazing. But he took these research one step further. What he did was he wanted to know what wavelength of light produced the greatest incidence of disease at night. So he looked at red light, green light, yellow light, blue light, purple light, all the different spectrums to find out what light had the greater incidence. So take a guess at what wavelength of light had the greatest incidence of disease. And believe it or not, it's blue light. It's rather shocking because we are being forced to use compact fluorescent light. You see the compact fluorescent light picture on the right at night. And he feels this could be one of the greatest threats to our health, being forced to use blue spectrum light at night. We need the old-fashioned incandescent lights, which give off a red glow. They have a much lower incidence of this condition called light at night. So I'm advising all of my eye patients to reduce their exposure to light at night, in particular the blue spectrum. You should favor the red spectrum at night. There are glasses called blue blockers. They block the blue spectrum of light. So if you are exposed to blue light at night, television, computer, fluorescent lighting, put on the blue blockers. We need blue light during the day, and that's one of the reasons why God made the sky blue and the ocean blue. We need blue light during the day, but we have to avoid blue light at night. There was an interesting study done in China where they looked at 100 patients. They were given 3 milligrams of melatonin to help them sleep at night, and they were required to sleep in a totally dark room. And believe it or not, the majority of these patients had a reduction in pathological macular changes. So you need a good sleep at night, and you need to sleep in a totally dark room. There is some indication that even the illumination of your alarm clock hitting the skin of your hand can suppress the circadian rhythm or the pineal. So it's not a sleep mask, putting your head under the blanket or covers. You need to sleep in a dark room. Any amount of light hitting the body can interfere with the circadian rhythm or pineal. Now, ultraviolet light, is it our friend or foe? There's been a lot of, you can't help but hear about vitamin D in the news. Everybody seems to be deficient in vitamin D. They're encouraging you to get tested for vitamin D. And I think the reason for that is ultraviolet light is necessary for our health. Big pharma a lot of times produces a problem and then it sells us a solution. So I think putting the fear of ultraviolet light in us, everyone's putting on thick layers of sunscreen, wearing dark glasses, shielding ourselves from from ultraviolet light is causing the vitamin D deficiency. And now they're telling us we have to take extra vitamin D. I firmly believe that lack of ultraviolet light might be a cause of macular degeneration. So it's the lack that's a cause, not too much. There was a study done at Wills Eye Hospital that showed that rabbit retinal pigment epithelium will not regenerate without low levels of ultraviolet light. So this indicates that the eye, the retina, can regenerate if we have low levels. Now, I'm not saying that excessive ultraviolet light is healthy, but I am saying that we need a moderate amount of ultraviolet light for the health, for our general health and our eye health. Now, most ophthalmologists will quote a study that was done in the American Journal of Ophthalmology. Well, this was a study done with monkeys, and they all had cataract surgery. Now, the lens of the eye, the human eye, act to protect the eye from unwanted, too much ultraviolet light. Also, these monkeys had dilating drops. Their pupils were enlarged. Now, when you go out into a bright, sunny day, what happens to your eye? Your pupils constrict. They also had a lid speculum placed in their eye, which prevented them from closing their eye or squinting. And then their head was strapped to a chair. Then they had a 16-minute exposure, 10,000 watt xenon light. And then the monkeys were sacrificed. They looked at the retina and said, my goodness, ultraviolet light is dangerous. But this study is ridiculous. It's much like having a group of people walk into a blast furnace and then find out their bodies are badly burned and then claim that heat is bad for our health. So I have to emphasize, we need a moderate amount of ultraviolet light. And since doing all this research, I am no longer wearing sunglasses. The only time I wear sunglasses, as if I'm going to be outdoors all day and there's a lot of glare from the sand or the ocean, then I'll only wear sunglasses. Now, I do recommend or require that you wear sunglasses if you've had cataract surgery, because after cataract surgery, you lose the protective effect of your human lens. And of course, this is another reason why you should avoid cataract surgery. Keep your lens. Keep the lens that God gave you, and you should look at different alternative therapies to help reverse the symptoms of cataract. Over the years, I've learned that vision is more than acuity. we also need to look at function. And let me explain that. Well, Dr. Bates was the turn of the century. He was a turn of the century ophthalmologist, and he felt that all eye disease was caused by stress. And that by doing different eye exercises and reducing stress, you could cure eye disease. Well, most eye doctors felt that Dr. Bates was crazy. I came across a book written by Aldous Huxley called The Art of Seeing. And Huxley was a famous science fiction writer. He wrote The Doors of Perception, Brave New World, but he also wrote a book called The Art of Seeing. I didn't know this, but Huxley had horrible vision most of his life, and for a good part of his life he had to read with Braille. He discovered the work of Dr. Bates and began doing some of these exercises that Bates recommended and had a dramatic improvement of his vision. One of Bates's favorite exercises is palming. Now, palming is kind of interesting because in a way it's kind of meditation. In meditation, you close your eyes and you put your cupped hands over your closed eyes, and this helps to reduce the stress in your eyes. In addition, our body is an electromagnetic system. So electrical currents come out of our palms. And the hands have been known throughout the ages, the touch of healing. The saints, the sages, used the hands to heal. So by directing this energy into our eyes, in a way, we're producing kind of like a microcurrent, energizing our eye, and at the same time a form of meditation. Also, Dr. Bates talked about sunning. And of course, we made fun of Dr. Bates. How ridiculous is this? Looking at the setting sun or the rising sun through your closed eyes can help benefit your eyes. Now, how in the world can this help? Well, we might say that, you're getting some ultraviolet light, which is beneficial, but does it have a therapeutic effect? Interesting, Bates was right. There are some articles coming out which indicate that low laser therapies can improve vision in patients with macular degeneration and glaucoma. And these were studied in prominent journals in Europe. And when I read some of these articles, I purchased a cold laser and began experimentation on my own eyes and patients, and Bates was right. So this produces kind of the same effect that sunning does. When we were doing this cold laser, my wife and I, my wife made a comment doing the laser procedure. She said, "Honey, this is just like looking at the sun." So Bates was right. So when you're looking at the setting sun, it's a red, near-infrared spectrum, and this has been duplicated with some studies. So I feel that sunning can be very, very beneficial. And of course, we're using this therapy now in our office. I wanted to comment on electrons and disease. I feel strongly that disease is a lack of electrons. We know that an alkaline pH is really good for our body, and an acidic pH is poor. An acidic pH is a deficiency in electrons. An alkaline pH is electron rich. So I feel that electrons are lacking in any disease tissue. Electrons are the life force of the body that helps regenerate. So these are some of the therapies that add electrons. Microcurrent, oxidative therapies, which I'll talk about. Ozone is an electron-charged molecule. Acupuncture, ultraviolet blood irradiation, and light therapies add electrons. So when you're outside getting some sunshine, you're adding electrons to your body. There's a book written by Stephen Sinatra called Earthing. It's a really interesting book. He feels that our body needs to be grounded to the earth. So when you walk on a beach, the salt water and the sand, you feel good because your body is grounded. Unfortunately, many of us spend a good part of our life and we're not grounded. We're wearing shoes, especially rubber-soled shoes, which have no grounding. And he feels strongly just by taking off your shoes and socks, walking on the ground, connecting your body to the earth, this can be very beneficial to many health problems. Now, we are using a device called the Delta laser. The Delta laser is very interesting because not only does it have the red infrared light that I talked about was so beneficial, but it also has a magnetic field, much like earthing. So you have a couple of modalities in one. You have a magnetic field, you have the red infrared light, you have syntonic light, and ultrasound. You have 4 modalities in one. So this is one device that I'm now highly recommending for patients who have eye problems or health problems. And let me back up here. We're using it in 3 different ways. One, we're using it directly over the eye. We're also using it over the carotid artery, the side of the neck. It helps oxygenate the blood. So the blood that goes to the eye has a higher level of oxygen. It also helps to detoxify the lymphatic system. And interestingly enough, when it's used over the bones, and this lower picture right here is treating the lower leg, the bone of the lower leg, it helps improve the number of stem cells. Homeopathy is a really big part of my practice, and homeopathy has a completely different approach to health and disease. In homeopathy, we feel that the body has the ability to heal itself. By giving a homeopathic remedy, this acts as a catalyst to stimulate the body to heal. So I have a question for you. Who was the first homeopath? Many people will say Samuel Hahnemann, but it's actually Moses, Exodus 23:20. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire, ground it into powder, stewed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. This is exactly how we make our homeopathic remedies. We grind it up, we burn it, we put it in water, and we drink it. Interestingly, gold, the calf was made of gold. Gold is a homeopathic remedy that we use to treat depression and despair. So Moses was right. He had a good homeopathic remedy. In homeopathy, we have a respect for the wisdom of the body. By that I mean we listen to the body. Every time you have a symptom or a disease state, it is necessary for homeostasis. If God has developed our body in his likeness, I think that our body has a certain wisdom. So when we do develop a disease or a symptom, it's because our body needs it for homeopathy. So in homeopathy, we use the law of similars, that a substance that causes a symptom in a healthy person will cure this symptom in a disease state. For example, belladonna produces a fever, redness of the face, and a throbbing headache. Well, if a patient comes in and has a fever, redness of the face, and throbbing headache, we give them belladonna. So we treat with the exact same remedy that causes those symptoms. So if somebody has diarrhea, we give a homeopathic remedy which causes diarrhea. Now you may be thinking, that's strange. Isn't it going to make the diarrhea or condition worse if you're giving a substance which causes those same things? Well, interestingly, if you believe the body has a wisdom and it's trying to balance itself by producing those symptoms, let's help the body. So when I was cured of my asthma, I was given a homeopathic remedy that produces asthmatic symptoms. So this is not that far-fetched, because even in traditional medicine, we use a homeopathic-like approach. So if someone's allergic to ragweed, you go to the allergist and he actually gives you a dilution, an injection of a very dilute solution of ragweed. So a dilute solution of a substance which causes the symptoms can act as a catalyst to help the body to heal. So the law of similars is very important. If you look at this, an onion, if you peel an onion, you get watering eyes, right? Well, homeopathic onion can be used to treat watering eyes. A bumblebee, get bit by a bumblebee, you have redness and swelling. So homeopathic bumblebee or homeopathic Apis mellifica is used for redness and swelling. A rattlesnake bite will cause hemorrhage and death to the tissue. So if you have a hemorrhage in the back of the eye, we give you a homeopathic remedy like the rattlesnake to reverse the hemorrhage. Now this may seem strange to a lot of you, but I think the homeopathic approach, I've had much success. And I tend now to think as a homeopathic doctor. anytime I evaluate a patient, I'm always looking at why is the body producing this symptom? Why is this disease state present? Why is it necessary for the body to do this in order to have homeostasis? So that helps me find the underlying disturbance in your body. And once we correct that, there can be a miraculous healing. So homeopathy doesn't just look at your eye problem, it looks at other diseases, your physical problems like high blood pressure, diabetes, and it looks at your mental and emotional state. So all these components go into selecting the right homeopathic remedy. And when the right homeopathic remedy is selected, there can be a profound change in acting as a catalyst to help restore lost vision and improve your health. I became interested in microcurrent when I heard about the miraculous success of Sam Snead, who had macular degeneration. He used microcurrent and he regained his vision well enough to drive. I had the pleasure of treating Sam Snead for macular degeneration using microcurrent. And there's a picture of Sam and I on the golf course. He gave me a week of lessons and I gave him a week of microcurrent treatment. And everybody wants to know, well, what did Sam tell you about your golf game? Well, he put his arm around me and said, Dr. Kondrot, I want you to cut back over a year and then just give the game up. So I did follow Sam's advice and have given up the game of golf. The New York Times Magazine on May the 25th, my birthday, had a cover article on the body electric. And I was just so excited. This was the best birthday present I could ever have. Finally, mainstream medicine and the mainstream media is looking at microcurrent and the body electric. Believe it or not, a major pharmaceutical company is investing $50 million in looking at the body electric and how current can help regenerate health and help restore vision and help treat many chronic diseases. Now, microcurrent, these are some of the things that microcurrent does to the body. Improves blood flow, stimulates cellular activity, removes scar tissue, reduces inflammation, and has a neuroprotective effect. And many of you, if you ask your eye doctor, can microcurrent help me? The doctor will say, well, there's no evidence that it can help you, and if it did work, I'd hear about it. Well, if you would ask that same eye doctor, if I could stimulate cellular activity in my eye, would it help my macular degeneration and glaucoma? He would say, certainly. If I could reduce inflammation in my eye, would it help me? Certainly. Well, microcurrent does all these things, and there's been hundreds of articles published which does indicate that microcurrent has these effects. So we're applying microcurrent to the eye. On the left is a photo of Lance Armstrong. In addition to his blood doping, his cycling team routinely used microcurrent to help regenerate their bodies and help reduce inflammation. There's a picture of my wife and I. We finished a Marine Corps marathon, and we were aching and sore, and I could barely walk. A 30-minute microcurrent treatment completely eliminated my pain and inflammation. Microcurrent can have a dramatic effect, and of all the therapies that I do for eye disease, I think microcurrent is the number one. Early on, we used a device called the MicroStim 100, and we treated acupuncture points around the eye, which stimulated the meridians. Then I became interested in frequency specific. This greatly improved my results because now we were looking at a specific frequency that matched the body's frequency. So every tissue in the body has a unique frequency or vibration. And if we match the microcurrent frequency with the tissue, we have a harmonizing effect. Much like if you have two C-sharp tuning forks and you vibrate them together, they're going to harmonize. So by sending in the right frequency, we are able to help rejuvenate that particular tissue. Now, one question that I often get is, well, Dr. Kondrot, I can buy a microcurrent machine on eBay for $70. Why do I have to spend a couple thousand for a frequency-specific microcurrent machine? Well, the answer is twofold. Most of the microcurrent machines on the market, inexpensive machines, have a very high current. we have found that the lower current gives much better results. In fact, studies have been done that show that high current can actually reduce the vision and impede the conduction of the optic nerve. The second reason is that most of the microcurrent machines have a current adjust, meaning that you can turn the current up or turn it down, much like the volume knob on your TV. Now, it is important that you do keep a very, very low current. So my best results are achieved, and most microcurrent practitioners feel that a lower current will give you better results. And it's much like in homeopathy. The more dilute a solution is, the better effect it has on the body. The device we use is an Inspirstar programmable machine. I like this machine because it can be tailor-made to each patient. So if you have dry macular, there's different frequencies than for wet. If you have dry macular and cataract, there's different frequencies. So over the last 15 years, we've developed different protocols that seem to be very effective for your particular eye problem. And you can see a patient on the right there is getting an eye treatment. We also do body treatments with the microcurrent. These body treatments are used to help reduce stress and help detoxify the body, help to remove heavy metals. Recently, we've developed an entry-level machine. It's a lower cost machine. It's called the Brain Memory Preservation. And this machine has 3 programs: balance the body, detox, and relax. I have a lot of interest in this machine because I think that these 3 programs can help the majority of people, no matter what your health issue is. Remember earlier on, I felt that by reducing stress is one of the most beneficial things you can do. And many times I see patients that all they do is use the microcurrent to reduce stress. They have a really nice change in their health and their body's able to heal. We also have a detox program and a brain balancing program. And this is a fun picture we took. I gave a seminar and everybody was using the brain machine. I don't know if they paid more attention to me during the seminar, but we had fun. And there have been some good reports by doing these simple programs. A lot of chronic health problems are eliminated from the body. These are some microcurrent studies that have been done. I published an article in the Times newsletter in 2002. And as I mentioned more recently, I presented my last 2 years' data of patients that I treated, and this was accepted in a peer-reviewed journal called Alternative Medicine. There have been articles published, Microcurrent, the treatment of retinitis pigmentosa, articles showing that microcurrent reduces intraocular pressure, and also showing microcurrent has a neuroprotective effect. Neuroprotective effect, what does that mean? That means that when you do microcurrent, there's a less incidence of you losing vision. It makes the nervous tissue, the retina and the optic nerve, a little stronger. I'm involved with some research in Rome with Professor Matteo Russo, and we're looking at the effects of microcurrent on an animal model of macular degeneration. And Professor Russo has this theory that microcurrent can alter genetic expression. So if you have a genetic expression for macular degeneration, microcurrent may alter this expression and help you achieve better health or reduce your incidence of macular degeneration. Some specialized therapies that we do are chelation and oxidative treatments, and I want to talk about these. One of the biggest contributing factors that I see is elevated lead. And you can see this line here going into the red zone. It's lead, PB is lead. And just about every patient I see with eye problems has elevated lead. Well, why is this, Dr. Kondrot? Well, many of you grew up at a time when we had leaded gasoline, leaded paint, lead in the water, and we have accumulated lead over the years, and now that lead is in our body, adversely affecting our eyes and our neurological system. There was a study done, a Harvard study done, that clearly showed that lead is a contributing factor in cataracts. The best way to evaluate yourself for heavy metals is a 6-hour urine challenge test. If you would get a urine test or a blood test, you could be dying of lead poisoning and the urine and blood will be normal. Why is that? Well, the lead doesn't stay in the blood and urine. It goes into your bone, your brain, your eye, and your fat tissue. So you need to take a chelating agent, a challenge agent, to help make those heavy metals water soluble. Then you collect the urine and send it into a lab. Best way to treat elevated lead is chelation. This is a substance called EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid. It's a big molecule that binds the lead and makes it water soluble. You can do intravenous treatment, which is the recommended. You can do rectal, topical, and oral. It's best, number one, to be tested for heavy metals via the urine challenge test and discuss with your alternative doctor the best method. Oxidative therapies is something that I think is extremely valuable. My friend Dr. Robert Rowan states that oxidative therapies are probably one of the best things that you can do for your body to help regenerate. And ozone is used. It's a highly reactive form of oxygen, and it's usually given mixing it with the blood, but you can't administer the ozone gas rectally. And we also use ozone eye drops. For the longest time, I felt that rectal insufflation was not that beneficial. But I have found through my research that Dr. Silvia Mendez in Cuba has treated thousands of patients with rectal insufflation. And she has found that about 90% of these patients have an improvement of their vision. So I am now making the rectal insufflation part of the program. I feel that I like therapies that you can do at home. It's simple to administer rectal gas, ozone rectally. It's a small amount that you insert rectally, hold it for a couple of minutes, and it's rapidly absorbed into your body. We also do ultraviolet blood irradiation. This is where blood is taken out and ultraviolet light is shined on the blood. This is a very powerful way to detoxify the body and help rejuvenate the body. As I mentioned, the delta laser, which is a specialized laser, may have the same effect without taking the blood out of the body. There's a lot of interest in stem cells, and I've traveled extensively to Europe. I visited the largest stem cell center in the world in Germany, and I've discovered, interestingly, that most doctors that are doing stem cells are trying to find ways to get the stem cells to grow. And believe it or not, microcurrent and light therapy are two ways to get these stem cells to grow. So your body has existing stem cells. So that may be another mechanism of why microcurrent works. It's stimulating existing stem cells to do their job and heal the body. You know, when you have a cut on your finger, you don't have to have stem cell therapy to get your body to heal. No, stem cells know what to do. So I like the fact that microcurrent light therapy can stimulate existing stem cells. Also, doctors that are doing stem cell therapy feel very strongly that you have to eliminate inflammation and infections, improve oxygenation and heavy metals. So these are things that we're doing as part of our program. So all of these things are acting as a catalyst to help your body to heal. Now, I'd like to tell you about some of the programs we have that you might be interested in. We have our Get Started with Microcurrent. This is the easiest way to get involved with microcurrent. It's a 2-day workshop where you come in, we educate you on how to do microcurrent. We also have our 1-week treatment program. This is where you come to the center for 1 week. We evaluate you. We do various treatments to see how we can improve your vision. This 1-week treatment program does not include a microcurrent machine or any devices that you can take home with you. But after this week, if you feel that you've benefited from these treatments, you do have an option to purchase the microcurrent and other devices. The best way we can help you is the Kondrot Program. This is a very extensive program, but the Kondrot Program is now available through trained integrative doctors. That's very exciting. There are doctors throughout the United States who are doing this program. We recently had a 2-day workshop here at the Wellness Center where all the doctors doing the program convened. We discussed our results. I am very pleased. These doctors have done over 50 patients and only one patient did not have an improvement of vision. So that's extremely, extremely exciting. That means that these treatments do work. Remember, the treatment is tailored for each patient. I act as a coach for each one of these doctors, and I personally review each case. So you really don't have to come to Florida. I mean, of course, you're welcome to come to Florida, but we have doctors throughout the United States doing this program. So go to my website at healingtheeye.com, or please call the office and get information on where is a doctor near you. Now, the Kondrot program includes evaluation and testing, extensive evaluation and testing, review of your records, 3 days of eye therapies, 3 days of intensive microcurrent and light therapy treatments. You do receive a customized microcurrent machine, a customized light therapy device. You have testing for heavy metals, and you do oxidative treatments. And these are the things that can really turn your eye condition around. Like I said, the majority of patients that go through the program do have a marked improvement of vision. Also included are daily lectures during the program. Just want to educate you. We have a lecture on diet, nutrition, hydration, microcurrent therapy, detox, and heavy metals. Education is important so you know why you're doing these treatments, and also so you feel comfortable and competent in doing all of them. The program also includes 3 follow-up visits, usually at 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months, because sometimes we have to change some of the parameters in the program depending on how you're doing. I also offer monthly coaching webinars, and this is one of the monthly coaching webinars, and a weekly radio show. Every Sunday evening, you're welcome to tune in to my radio show. I usually interview a guest that has some knowledge in utilizing a particular therapy to help folks with health and vision problems. Healthy Vision Talk Radio every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you live in Arizona, you can listen live, station 1100 a.m., and you can always listen online. We do record all of these shows, and I have a library of all my past recordings online. If you have a particular interest, email me, and I can get a guest that has that particular experience, or I can talk about it myself. These are my 3 best-selling books: Healing the Eye the Natural Way, Microcurrent Miracle Eye Cure, and 10 Essentials to Save Your Sight. There's our phone number, 800-430-9328. Now, as a gift to all of you, I'm giving you a free copy of my best-selling book, 10 Essentials to Save Your Sight, because I really appreciate you listening to this webinar, and it's my goal to help you restore your lost vision. This is a $24.95 value, free to you. All you have to do is pay a nominal amount for shipping and postage. And those of you that do live overseas in Europe, I will be offering the book free on Amazon.com as a Kindle version. So subscribe to my monthly newsletter, and I'll keep you update on when that's going to be available free. Also, we have a free audio CD and transcription of this webinar. If you're interested in an audio CD and transcription, and we'll be happy to send you the CD and transcription. Just all we need is your mailing address. You can send your mailing address to info@healingtheeye.com, or give us a call at 800-430-9328. And we'll also subscribe you to our monthly newsletter on tips to keep your eyes healthy. So I really want to thank all of you for participating in this webinar. Unfortunately, because of the large number of you listening, I really can't take any questions, and my apologies, but I will be happy to answer any questions. So send your question to info@healingtheeye.com, and someone will get back to you. Make sure you do email us with your mailing address so we can send you the free audio CD and transcription, and also a copy of the book. I want to thank all of you for participating in this webinar. And this is Dr. Edward Kondrot, and I wish all of you good health and clear vision.